Hey everybody, this is my second video today, but I'm not going to post this video until tomorrow because I don't want you all to get bored of me. But this is really a tag video. The BlueFlamingo made a video and he tagged everybody and he wants them to tell him if they've read the Harry Potter series, or if not, to tell him our favorite books or whatever. It's just a tag to get people to make videos, and I think it's a good tag. I used to be a voracious reader. I'm telling you what, from the time I was a young girl, in grade school, I read every day of my life. I would probably read 2-3 books a week, and I did that for, I'd say, at least 35 years. I have probably read thousands of books. I've read so many books that I have gotten books that I've read before and didn't know I read them. I guess everybody's done that. And maybe read 20, 30, 40 pages and say, oh yeah, I've read this book. But I've also, what books I do have here at my home, I have read them 2 and 3 times. I've read almost every book in our local library. And I was like that until the computer came into my home. Well, even then, I read every evening before I went to bed, but since YouTube has come into my life, I don't have time for anything else. But I do love to read. At the moment, I'm not reading anything, but I did want to tell you all about some of my favorite books. Now, I am a hardcore science fiction fantasy fan. I love it. I love it in TV shows. I love it in movies. I love anything in the future, anything with science, hard science, fluff science. It doesn't matter. I just love it. Fantasy, I just love it. And one of my favorite series is the Dragonlance series by Margaret Weis and Tracy Hickman. Now, I can't tell you how many books are out there about this subject. I know I've not read near all of them, but it's just a fantastic series. It's fun. I love to read it, and I want to get back into it. There's so many, a lot of the things I read are a series of books on the same subject, and it's just fun. I like anything by Jane Austen. Of course, Jane Austen probably only wrote 5 or 6, 7 books in her life, but she is an incredible writer. Of course, it was a long, long time ago, But one of my favorite books of hers is Pride and Prejudice. I love that book. It is so fun to read, and she makes the words it's just wonderful. You know what I mean? I wrote down some of the things that I like to read. Of course, I like Patricia Cornwell, and I love her Kay Scarpetta novels, and it's about a female medical examiner. And for some reason, I never watch any shows like CSI or any of that on TV. But I tell you what, I love to read about Kay Scarpetta and her adventures with the Richmond medical examiner's office in Virginia. It's just so fun. I love it. And another thing, if I like to read about murder mysteries, I like to read Sue Grafton's The Alphabet Series Murders. Most of her, in this series, her novels are like, I wrote down, like C is for corpse, P is for peril. She begins her books out like that, and it's about the heroine of the books is Kinsey Milhone, and I haven't read it so long I forgot her name, but she's a private eye, and she tries to solve all these murders and mysteries. It's just fun reading, you know what I mean? And one of the best novels in a series I've ever read was called The Wheel of Time series by Robert Jordan. Now, I've read at least 10 of those books, and he's taken a century to write them. I'm not kidding. He has probably taken 15 years to do this series of books. And to me, he's on the line of J.R.R. Tolkien. And I love his books too. I've read so many of his books, all the Lord of the Ring books and the Hobbits, and he's written so many other things too. I love reading him. But the Wheel of Time series, I don't think it's finished. The last book I read was 10, and I knew it was going to come out with number 11. And it's probably going to come out with a lot more than that. I don't know. I've never gotten back into it, but I really love that series. And just for fun and laughs, I read this book when I was probably in my 30s, and at the time, my son was probably at this age. The name of the book is The Secret Diary, I believe, of Adrian Mole, aged 13 and 3/4. My son was born when I was 22, so I would say that I was probably in my 30s when I read that book. And I tell you what, that book is a hoot. The woman that wrote it is Sue Townsend. I believe that's her name. Yeah. And I tell you what, 20 years later, I can still laugh about that book. It is hilarious. It's so fun. It's written about a boy in England, and you just have to read it. I know it's a kid's novel, but when I read a book, I like to be entertained, and it's got to grab me. I love reading a book that I can't put down. It's just, you have to go to sleep because you got things to do the next day, but you love this book so much that you can't put it down. And I love books that way. Books are so wonderful. I mean, I wish more people read, because it just takes you away to another land, and I'm getting all excited about reading again. So, Adrian, I love this tag. I hope everyone picks up a book at their library or at the bookstore or somewhere and gets involved in reading. It doesn't matter. I don't care what you read. Just read something. You know what I mean? And that's about all I got to say. This is Melissa reporting from up in the holler. Bye, everybody.